Okay, so since we've been studying the life cycle of complete metamorphosis, which we know is egg, larva, pupa, and adult, okay, we are going to, normally we would do this lab in the classroom, but since we're obviously not in the classroom, I'm gonna have to replicate it here for you. So, to do the lab though, you have to have a couple supplies. First, you have to have habitats where you can keep the worms. Second, you need to have food, which in this case is going to be oatmeal or any kind of grain for the mealworm. We're going to use screens as the covering on top to help keep the worms from crawling out, obviously. And then for the water supply, if we put actual water in the habitat, it would create mold. So instead, I'm going to chop up this potato into little chunks, and we'll put a chunk into each habitat. So then a knife, obviously, mealworms, which I'll show you in just a minute, which cameraman, you'll have to come closer in just a little bit, and labels. Okay, the labels, I am going to let each class name their own mealworm. Normally I would put you into groups and you could name your own, but in this case we'll have to do it by class. So more details on that are coming. But first thing we're going to do is we'll add some oatmeal to the habitat. Each one. So the oatmeal serves as food for the mealworm, as well as it will kind of feel like shelter to them. Normally when they're in their habitat, they will burrow. That's a normal thing for them, for their species. But the reason why we're using a mealworm is they do go through a complete metamorphosis. So hopefully, if these mealworms don't die, they will pupate in a couple weeks or days. And then after they've been in their pupa stage for a little while, they should hatch into beetles, which I will kind of keep you guys informed on how we're going to do that. So I'm going to have you come a little closer. Take a look at the habitat here. Okay, I'm going to put it over here. I'll show you the worms. They're not exactly moving at the moment. There we go. Now we're getting some movement. Okay, so the smallest size I could buy was 50. So of these 50, we're gonna pick that guy. No, I'm not stabbing him, I'm just scooping him. This one. And is he still alive? I don't know. Let's try, yeah, he's wriggling. Okay, so those guys. Okay, now those are all safely in their habitat. If I were to put them all into one habitat, that actually would not be enough living space for each of them. They would die if they were kept all together. So the other mealworms in here would die, but I'm gonna release them outside in a little bit. But now I'm gonna cut a little potato chunk. Okay. So we'll just put a little water. The potato is kind of like an apple when it's raw, has a lot of water stored into it because it's a root. Stores a lot of water for the plant. So it will serve as the water source. They don't need a whole lot of water. Like I said, if we put actual water in there, it would create mold. So we're gonna go with the potato instead. Here's my screen covering. This is super important because if I were to put the lid on the habitat, there wouldn't be enough oxygen, which is obviously another necessity for living things that we talked about. We said that they need 4 things they absolutely have to have. Light, which will help the plants grow to give it food. In this case, you've already given it food. And the mealworms actually thrive in darkness. So we're gonna keep them in the garage just so it stays dark for them. Light, oxygen, getting from the screen here. Water from the potato, and then living space, which we said if I had put all 3 of these worms into one habitat, they actually would not survive. So to keep the screen on top, I'm gonna take the rubber band, kind of rope it around like this. Okay, come a little closer and see. So it's kept in there, but there's a lot of air movement. The potato will dry out in a few days, so I'll kind of keep you guys updated. We'll maybe do some, maybe not daily updates because they really don't change that fast, but we'll come out and I'll send y'all some videos every once in a while. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the habitats to finish up for these guys here. I just wanna make sure that the rubber band goes all the way around because if not, the worms will escape. And that's always fun. I have had that happen before. See, like there's a little bubble on this side. So I gotta redo that one. Whoop, whoop, okay. Okay, perfect. Oh, we got a little hole again. Nope, just kidding. Fold it over. Okay, so I got 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so like I said, we'll have 1 mealworm for my homeroom class. Mr. Jimenez's class will have 1 worm, and Mr. Dietz's class will have 1 worm. So we'll come back and check on them, and hopefully we'll have enough time to see them turn into beetles. Which I'll show you guys what their pupa looks like, which is really kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna leave them in the garage because like I said, they thrive in darkness. So I'm leaving the garage but without the lid on because I obviously want them to get some oxygen. And then we'll come back in a few days and see how they are.